Hey everybody, welcome to the Crypto Beach. Today we've got Amy. She's going to share her experience getting into crypto for the first time, as well as some tips and some trends that she's been looking at. She's got a great story, so I'm not going to delay it anymore. Amy, go ahead and jump in.
Thank you so much for having me this morning. This is really incredible.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure for
So you were asking me about how I got into crypto, and I've shared this story a couple of times, and because it makes me laugh about how I sort of fell into crypto, and it happened last February-ish, 2020, and it was with Clubhouse, and Clubhouse seemed to be a new thing, at least for me it was, and someone sent me an invite to Clubhouse saying, you need to get on Clubhouse. You have an iPhone, right? I said, yeah, I have an iPhone. Okay, here, you get on Clubhouse. It's all these live chats and live spaces you can get into. And I said, oh, at first I'm thinking, oh God, another social media platform I have to figure out and navigate. Good grief. And then I decided one day I had a little bit of time to kill. I happened to be at the laundromat, and I decided to launch my Clubhouse app and figure out what this thing was all about. So I jumped into a random space. I had no idea what I was getting into. And I started hearing terms flown around like NFT and nifty something. I didn't even know what they were saying, nifty something. And they were talking about, and then this artist is in there. And he's talking about his work. It's an auction. It's, oh my gosh, it's selling, drop this. And by the end of the space, all these people were coming up onto the mic and talking about this person's art and just gushing over it, how wonderful it is that we can have all these different kinds of artists coming in and making good money in the community, in the artist community. And I swear, I think this artist made like $20,000 in 2 seconds. That's what it felt like. And I went, wow, what is going on? What is an NFT? I've never heard of this before. I'm Googling on my phone while I'm in the Clubhouse chat because I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. So by the time I got home, I kept Googling and I wasn't finding much except for there was an OpenSea NFT Bible. And I'm thinking, all right, I'll start reading through this sucker. The very next day, one of my photography mentors in the artist community, because I'm part of this group called the Art of Selling Art, and the head of it, Jason, he posts on our Facebook group, says, I'm doing a deep dive into NFTs. I went, oh, someone just said NFTs. I need to know more about this. And so he starts sharing what he learned. I keep Googling the daylights out of NFTs, and I finally figured out Nifty Gateway. Turns out I was in a drop party on Nifty Gateway in Clubhouse for Ferocious, this amazing 18-year-old artist who has just set the world on fire with his NFTs. And so I just went, like I said, I didn't even know what Nifty Gateway was. I didn't know what an NFT was. So I started getting back into Clubhouse thinking there's something here. Yeah. There's something there. So I kept listening to Clubhouse, getting into these chats. And finally, one morning, I finally got the nerve to get up and speak and say, I'm new to this. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm a photographer. If you got any tips or tricks or whatever, help somebody out. And they went, yeah. You know what? I'm happy to help. I'll get on a phone call with you. Here's my phone number. Call me tomorrow morning. I'm in New York, 11 o'clock. Let's talk. I'll walk you through it. I said, are you kidding me? Someone's just going to take their time to help a stranger out with, just whatever. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this. Get on the phone with this guy. I think he was in his late 20s. Super nice, super chill, walked me through, held my hand getting a MetaMask wallet, set up an OpenSea account, explained it like I was 5, what a blockchain was and what Ethereum was, because he kept referring to, I'm going to send you some ETH. And I'm like, you're going to send me what? I was still this wet behind the ears going, I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah. So I just, he walked me through minting my first piece and initializing my OpenSea account. So I just kept working that. I looked through the marketplaces, was trying to look what was on there. I kept seeing CryptoPunks and CryptoKitties and, these crazy PFPs and all this wonderful digital art that was 3D and animated and had all these lasers and lights and stuff and moving all around. And I'm thinking, well, my work doesn't look like this. So does my work need to look like this in order to sell? So that was a big discussion on Clubhouse, by the way, was, you don't need to make your art conform to what is already out there and selling. Do what you do. So about a couple months later, after, staying in Clubhouse chats and just kind of figuring out what was going on, someone sends me a invite to Foundation. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, I'm part of the cool club. I'm on a curated site, So
Yeah.
I put a couple of my images on Foundation and figured out the whole gas thing. And gas fluctuates quite a bit, but it was pretty low back then. It wasn't too terrible. And mostly I got away from the Clubhouse chats that summer. Mostly I was working a little bit and didn't really have the time to put into it. But I was a bit disillusioned because it was a lot of people in some of these rooms. It was very difficult to get on stage to talk. And I didn't really feel like I had a place in Clubhouse. And I know people still do Clubhouse quite a bit and have really embraced it. But for me, I didn't feel like I found a place there. I felt like I was still very much on the peripheral of NFT community and just artists in general. And when Twitter Spaces started, that was a game changer. And even so, by fall, I was kind of back on Twitter. Twitter Spaces was a thing. Just kind of dipping my toe in there and seeing if it seemed like it was very similar to Clubhouse. I'm like, okay, I get it. The speakers, request to talk, and there was, hosts and co-hosts, and I'm thinking, all right, I can do this. Let's give it another whirl. And there was lots of really amazing spaces like women in NFTs and just spaces that were for not just women artists, but just not always about shilling your work.
Yeah.
It was about come in, you're welcome, introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, tell us about your art. We want to get to know you. And that was really like, wow, people want to get to know me. They want to know why I do my work. They want to know what drives me, what's my passion. Not just I'm a photographer, I photograph portraits, I photograph landscapes. It really felt like we were creating a community that was really supportive to artists, all different kinds of artists, not just photographers, not just painters or multimedia people. There's even poets in many of these spaces. They're sharing their poetry, sharing their music. And it's really been a powerful thing to create friendships and community, and that we get into these spaces and we just talk and we're real and authentic with each other. We share our struggles. There's tears shed. And we're reaching out to say, we got you, honey. Don't worry. That we know you're having a rough time, especially in some of the women in NFT spaces. A lot of us are moms. A lot of us have full-time jobs. A lot of us have lives that, aren't always conducive to spending a million hours, shilling our work and getting it out there and marketing it. And so it's usually about coming back to these spaces and saying, we're holding space for you. We've got you. We've got your back. If you got to take a break from Twitter for a bit, you got to go and take care of your life and take care of yourself. We're here. We're not going anywhere. Come on back to us. Wow. And I feel like I've created friendships that I could very easily pick up my phone, text message, call somebody, DM, and say, I could use some support. I'm having a rough day. I'm having a rough week. Or just reach out and say, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in Twitter Spaces in a couple of days. Are you doing all right? Do you need to talk? And because we notice when some people are missing for a few days. You doing okay? Yeah. Because as artists, true, we all go through a ton of self-doubt. Yep. We all go through just our time on the edge of going, am I doing this right? Yeah. Is this ever going to work? Am I ever going to sell a piece? Am I ever going to be successful enough to keep doing this? We all go through that. So it's really a great space for us to come back and say, we got you. Wow. We're here for you. And we're, that whatever you need, we're all going to just, band together and give you that support. And so that's been really just incredibly powerful to not feel like we're alone. And many of us have reflected on with the pandemic, we've all been isolated. We're all behind our computers, behind our phones, and we don't have that community to, to find people in real life to have a conversation with. And so
Yeah.
the Twitter spaces, because it's live and because it's real time and we can hear people's voices, you
Yeah.
can hear when people are in pain. You can hear when people are super excited and passionate. And
Yeah.
when they talk about their work and that passion comes through about, I love doing this project. This means so much to me
Yeah.
because, and you can hear the good and the bad. You can hear when people are on the verge of tears. You can hear when people are just like, I just made a sale and I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, someone collected my work. I mean, and I've been in spaces where 3 people made a sale right there live in a space. And they went, I mean, one of them was the host and she was checking her email and she went, oh my God, I just got a sale. And her voice is shaking. She goes, I need a moment to collect. She's hosting the space. I need a
Wow.
moment to collect myself. My work just sold. And we're all going, yeah, hundreds are
Cheering her
going up
on.
and
Yeah.
everyone's unmuting their mic going, right on, Chels. That was so amazing.
It's like
So
winning an award on stage or
yeah,
something,
so it's like celebrating the
It's
wins,
massive.
but also supporting when you need a little bit of help and don't worry, you got this, or maybe change this, or bouncing some ideas off of people. So it's been super powerful, and just this community that we're building is just incredible. And it's been a game changer because, like I said, you don't feel like going at it alone.
Yeah.
We feel like we're in this together.
This is a story of connection,
Mhm.
a powerful connection. I'm not going to try to rephrase it, or you told this story in a powerful way as well. Man, so with all of these learnings, what kind of tips would you give to someone who's maybe on the outskirts looking in, and or maybe feeling a little bit burned out or exhausted because it's just a lot to digest?
Mhm. Well, funny you should ask me that because I was just messaging somebody who we're trying to get into the community. She wants to get into NFTs, but she just has no idea how. And I just messaged her and said, follow these people. I'm going to give you some footsteps in the sand to follow. If I can make your journey in a little bit easier, because I felt like I bumbled it a lot, just not knowing what I was doing, where I was
Well,
going. So I just said, I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you. Follow this person, this person, this person, and this person. They all host spaces. They all host welcoming spaces. So don't feel like you need to jump through fiery flaming hoops to be in these spaces. Just go in and listen for a minute, request to speak, introduce yourself, say thank you for hosting this space is the very first thing you should be saying, because all of these people, women and men that are hosting these spaces, are doing it on their own time. That's their contribution to the community, is that they're hosting these spaces and making it possible for people to come in and share their work, share their story. And it's a lot of work. I've co-hosted several spaces, and to keep the dialogue going,
yeah.
to keep the flow of the room happening, make sure people are being heard and not talking over. you know these people give a lot of their time, so I usually say the first thing you should be saying is thank you for hosting the space, thank you for allowing me the time to speak, good morning, good evening, my name is, I'm just happy to be here. If you have something to add to the conversation, by all means share it. But please don't get into a space and say, I'm a photographer and I've got this amazing drop. Come look at it.
Yeah.
Because that is the first, that is the number one way to get people to go, you're doing it wrong. This isn't how we do that.
Yeah.
Because then there are rooms that you can get into to sell, and they call them shill spaces, but
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is kind of a terrible word, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. No, that's
it has such a negative connotation to it, but
yeah.
there are
True.
spaces for that, for just getting in. I mean, I know one of the collectors hosts a space that's like a 90, you have 60 seconds to shill your work. So they let all these people come up and just to give them 60 seconds, boom, and they time it. So if you can give your elevator pitch in 60 seconds, you can get on stage in front of a big collector. And it's like, and
Okay.
they call it shooting your shot. I'm like, hey. So, I mean,
Interesting.
and so there are spaces for that, but there are spaces for just, they call them just chilling. Let's just have a conversation.
Yeah.
Let's just get to know people. I want to know you.
Right.
And now I feel like I have friends all over the world. I've been talking to people in Bulgaria, in Japan, Germany, Scotland, Atlanta, just wherever.
Wow.
And a lot of us are in different time zones. So we kind of have to juggle, hey, are you awake right now? What time
Yeah,
is it
yeah,
where
yeah,
you are?
exactly. Yeah, how
And
many hours you hit? I've encountered that as well. So yeah.
yeah, so it's fun. But yeah, I honestly I think just new people get in this get in the easy rooms and just be real, be you, and just say hello, introduce yourself, and take it from there. It's like making a new friend. It's like making 100 new friends, just
Yeah,
all one
really.
time.
Yeah. Um, so this is powerful because this is a signal that communities have been around for a long time, right?
Mhm.
And Reddit really laid a great foundation to make online communities a thing,
Yes.
and connect people of different tastes and subcultures together. What I see here, with the artist community in Twitter Spaces, along with this NFT world, is a kind of almost like a formation of a huge international community of artists,
Oh, absolutely.
where maybe these artists weren't talking to each other as much because they were internationally, located.
Mhm.
Where do you see things going in the next 5 years?
God, the next 5 years, that feels like it's a decade from now.
Yeah,
We,
right.
we, we all joke that Twitter moves so fast that, a
Yeah.
day feels like a week and a week feels like a
Yeah,
month. And,
that's true.
because it feels like a lifetime ago since I started NFTs. And that was literally 9 months ago. So where I see it, and I honestly am just kind of looking at it just a year from now, but it's really interesting to hope that it brings all of these artists that feel like they didn't have a space to share their work with just everybody and anybody, to get in front of collectors, to get in front of even just other artists. That it really does feel like it's joining all of us together in a global community.
Mm.
To be honest, I feel like sky's the limit. Um, I truly hope that it creates almost I feel like it's probably going to end up splintering off into pockets of different types of artists, to be honest, because I think it's going to become so big
Yeah,
that we all keep feeling like right now we're sort of lucky because it does feel like there's a lot of people, but we know that there's not really that many
that
people.
many people relative to the amount of people that are going to be on board
Yeah.
within the next 5 years.
And
Exactly.
so we kind of feel like we're in a very special time right now where we're the first ones here and we're kind of laying the groundwork and making the community. And then eventually there's going to be a ton of people in this space. And I hope that it still is in some way as connected as it is. But I feel like it's probably going to break off into, I guess, smaller facets so that it can still be that connected, because there's a big difference in being in a space with 50 people or even 100 people and 500 people. Because if there's 500 people, you have a pretty lower chance
Yeah.
of
Chance.
being able to talk.
Yeah.
And right now, because the spaces are a little bit smaller and the community is still relatively small, we do have the opportunity to really spend time and share.
Yeah.
So I hope that we can somehow keep that. And instead of it being something that just dissolves and is ruined, because it's so special,
Yeah.
and it's really helped the mental health, and it's really just helped artists feel like we can do this. We can
Yeah,
actually earn a living from our art doing
yeah,
what we do. And it's,
exactly.
it's given people a lot of hope and just a lot of, I don't know, just, I feel like I keep going back to the word support, but that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. So
So
I
it's
guess
a net
I
positive.
hope
It's
it's
a
not ruined in
it's
the
a
next
net
5 years.
positive. The technology
Yeah.
for some long time, because people, not all technology is good technology, right? But
Yeah.
this technology is a net positive because not only are you empowering the artists to make money on their work in a new way, in a new market, but you're also creating an incentive to connect around this new method, right? And I think that connection is really going beyond just selling art, but also connecting humans.
Yes. And what I've also said before in a couple different spaces is I said, um, I think that Twitter Spaces is finally what social media was meant to be.
Wow, that's
Because think
powerful.
about when social media started, it all, they kept selling it as this is a way to connect. This is a way to connect. And in a way we did. But on other platforms like Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah,
and whatever, it just felt like one, it wasn't real time. And two, people often shared their highlight reel. They only shared, hey, look how great my life is.
yeah,
And we even found studies saying that, we saw self-esteem plummet from platforms like Instagram and even
that's so
Facebook
true.
because you see other people only sharing the good stuff.
Yeah,
And you couldn't hear people's voices and you couldn't connect in real time. And so with Twitter Spaces, I feel like this is how social media was supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be, that it's real time, it's being able to be real,
yeah,
and that life isn't always perfect and
yeah,
life isn't always going to be, oh my god, I'm on a beach somewhere, sipping a mai tai and life is amazing, because we all
yeah.
know it's not
That's
like
not
that.
the truth.
No.
It's
And
just
so
not.
we feel like, I feel like the curtain's been pulled back and that we're all real people. We all really do want to just be authentic,
Be
just be
I'm
authentic
connecting.
people,
I'm connecting. You're
you
really
know?
I'm connecting.
And so it's a chance for us to be able to talk to somebody in another country, even another language. And we've all been, I mean, most of the spaces are in English.
Mhm.
And many of the people that come in the spaces, English is their second language, or they have a very, very distinct accent. And we try to be very welcoming to that, because that has to, I mean, even as an English speaker, I feel like I get nervous speaking in spaces. I get kind of like, oh my God, what should I say? Or especially at the beginning, but then not knowing English as a first language, I got to give these people props, because English is a tough language to learn, I feel like, especially if it's not your first
Yeah.
language. So when they come in, we really try to give them space to express themselves however they need to. And even people that are nonverbal, even people that can't speak,
Yeah.
Lori Grace has been wonderful about holding spaces and saying, nonverbal, if you need to message me with questions, if you don't feel confident speaking, we still want to hear from you. We don't want
Inclusion.
to leave
Yeah.
you out of the discussion. So
Right.
it's just, I'm really, really hoping that this continues to build,
It will.
that this type of community, and maybe the future is that it's not just on Twitter Spaces, that it becomes a thing on other platforms, that instead of it just being, showing the best of your life and fake it till you make it kind of thing, that it's, let's be real people.
Yeah.
Let's be friends, let's be colleagues, let's be, let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
One of the men in this space says, I just want to have a conversation. I just want to talk to you. I want to know you. And that feels good when someone tells you, I want to know you. I want to know about you. That feels good. Everybody wants to feel heard. Everybody wants to feel like they're accepted, into whatever community you're in. So just having someone say, I hear you and I want to know you because you seem like an interesting person. You know, maybe you're not an interesting person, but they still want to know you, you know, but,
Oh
you know,
man.
but just to have someone tell you, I
Yeah.
want to know you. I want to know your story. It feels great. And I hope that that continues.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Amy. This is a fantastic interview. You captured a lot of the nuance that we hear about, but not necessarily we're not able to necessarily color it as much. But today you did a great job just helping to capture or frame what connection really feels like and how this new technology, NFTs, blockchain really, but also these online communities, how they're sort of changing the way that we, or really enhancing the way that we connect,
Yes.
with a hope to further that connection into the future and make that the kind of the standard experience rather than what's going on today, which is all this like showboating, or like you said, just capturing the highlight reel. But
Hmm.
that's not human. That's not the human experience either.
Nope.
So, man, this was great.
We want to see the highs and the lows, because
Exactly.
we want to be able to support you through those lows so that you get back out there and keep creating
I
and
think
keep
it's,
being
yeah.
part of it.
As a human, we love to support others. We love to
Yes.
support our fellow humans. We like to
Yeah.
contribute to the journey of others being successful. And it naturally gets reciprocated because we go through our highs and our lows. But,
Hmm.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing, because I connect with the stories, the people,
Yeah.
and it's always been that way for me personally. So,
Yeah. And that's what's been really, I guess, what in the spaces when they say to talk about your work, they say to talk about your story, talk about your why,
mhm,
because that's when the passion comes through. That's when the passion about your art, the passion about why you do what you do. I mean, that comes through.
yeah,
And that's what connects you to people who want to be your collectors
yeah.
and support your art. So it's all about authenticity. And if you can't figure out how to just be real, how are you ever going to get people to understand why you do what you do? So if you can't reveal yourself a bit, then all you're doing is putting out a pretty piece of art. There's no soul to it. There's nothing in it. And all of us do it because all of us do what we do in the art community because it drives us, because it's just part of, I mean, for me personally, I feel like it's the air that I breathe. If I'm not creating something, what's the
Yeah,
point?
what's the
You
point?
know? I mean, and it's very, very true, because I've gone through periods in my life where if I'm not creating, I'm miserable.
Yeah,
So it's almost like the air that we breathe, and it's why we're here.
yeah.
So, and that passion it's powerful, and it does come through when we talk about it and people can hear us, just we're all about it. So
Thanks so much. It was great having
thank
you.
you.
All right.
This has been really fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, definitely. Anytime. We'll keep in touch. All right.
Okay, you got it.